Hello everyone, Fanta here, you're watching FANTAVISION, and today we're back with an all-new Tales from Retail. And this time I'm doing something a little bit different. Usually I focus on a specific store like Walmart, GameStop, Office Max, Target, Best Buy, all that kind of stuff. But today I saw an article that made me really think about something that might be able to help people that are either thinking about working in retail or already do. So hopefully this will help out just a little bit or just inspire you to just leave retail altogether. Because that's what I always recommend is just get in and get out. Do your time in retail for as short as you can because ultimately it really depends on where you work, but most of the time you're going to lose a lot of faith in humanity, which is unfortunate because there are a lot of great people out there, but you're definitely going to be remembering the negative experiences way more than the positive ones, because that's just how our brains work. So today I'm discussing how to handle rude customers. I'm going to give you some examples from the different stores that I've worked at and how I handled those situations. And what really brought this up was I was on Reddit because I use that way too much, and I saw an article and it was discussing how call center workers that had negative interactions with customers, their sleep was affected by it, their waking up the morning after that event happened really just kind of screwed with them. Like the way it psychologically affects you when you have a negative experience with a person, specifically at a call center, really affected their day. I mean that's, you need your sleep in order to recover for the next day. It's incredibly important. So if it's screwed up, you're kind of screwing up everything. I mean, it screws with your health, it screws with your mood. It's a pillar of what you have to worry about. So I figured it probably affects people even more so than call centers in a retail environment, because in a retail environment you're face to face with these people. It's not like there's this phone barrier between you. They're right there. I mean, they're in your face, they're pointing at things, they're swearing at you, they're threatening you, they know where you work. And it's a very scary situation when you're dealing with an extremely aggressive customer. So let's go ahead and dive in real quick. And there are many different ways you can deal with them. The thing I always recommend is to try to de-escalate the situation, because just escalating, you're not going to get anywhere with a lot of people. They're very stubborn in their ways, their mindset. It's just, they're stuck in whatever mindset they are. And another thing you need to remember, another tip kind of with that, is don't take it personally. That's a huge thing that a lot of people do when a customer is getting upset at them, is they take it personally. And I've known quite a few people that take it this way, but they just got to remember that these people are not angry with them most of the time. They're angry with either the store that they're in, they're angry with their own stupidity, which is definitely the case most of the time. They're angry with rules that obviously the worker did not create, or they've just had a bad day and it's now at a boiling point, and for some reason they're unleashing on you. So when this sort of thing happens, you can't be like, oh, well, everybody hates me. No, you're just working in retail, and unfortunately in this society there's this bullshit rule of the customer is always right. And from the customer perspective, they kind of see you as a subhuman. It's really screwed up the way that it works. But that's at least my experience with working retail, and other people that I know that have worked in retail, that's also what they've experienced. They've experienced multiple times just customers treating them like crap, despite how much effort they're putting in their job, how much they're trying to help them, how unthankful, how ungrateful lots of customers are, how they're dismissive, how they think you know nothing, how they think you're just an idiot, when most of the time it's the customer who's just a dumbass. And time again, that has been proven to me that it's not the retail employee's fault, it's the customer. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. There are definitely lots of stupid people that I worked with who I could definitely see why the customers were getting frustrated with. They'd kind of go on a side with me like, does this guy really work here? Is this guy really the manager? And I'm like, yeah. So to deal with these people, like I said, de-escalate. That's definitely the first step. You always want to de-escalate it. However, if you want to take the moral high road, we'll take the moral high road in the first example. So this person was swearing at me because he didn't know his own phone number, and at the time I completely spaced in the moment that you could look through the contacts and find your own phone number. I was just my brain couldn't really compute that this guy did not know his own phone number to pay his bill. He had to call his girlfriend to get his phone number because I just kept spacing that, I can just look in his phone at his phone number. I've never had to do that in my life. I've always had people know their phone number and I know my phone number. I don't understand how you don't know your phone number, especially when you have to come into a Walmart to pay your bill every month and you have to constantly tell a person what it is. I don't have to tell people my phone number pretty much ever, but I still know it. So what's this guy's excuse besides the fact that he's an idiot? And he's obviously an idiot. And I'm telling him, I can't help you unless I know the phone number. And he starts cussing me out. He starts swearing at me. He starts telling me, get your manager right now. And I could have snapped on him. I could have. But instead, I de-escalated the situation. I called the manager, but it always takes forever to get a manager in Walmart. So I had quite a big window to calm this guy down before the manager got there. I let him take a breather. He stepped back. And then I was like, look, I'm trying to help you here, but the only way I can do this is with your phone number. The manager's not going to help you with that. She's going to tell you the same thing I am. You just need it. Do you know somebody who knows your phone number? Then he finally calmed down, thought about it, called his girlfriend, which he somehow had. The guy was a piece of shit. I don't know how. It's crazy how people have significant others when they're just a pile of dog shit. I mean, he's not even objectively attractive. This is like this overweight, balding asshole. So he doesn't have personality and he doesn't have looks. I don't understand how these people find anybody. But that being said, I handled the situation. The manager came up. She's like, is everything all right? And I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. The customer was way more relaxed at this point. It's like, yeah, he's helping me out. And took care of the customer. The customer left. Situation solved. Okay? Now, I didn't really bend to the will of the customer, but I did definitely, I was trying to calm him down most of the time. There have been times where I have definitely been on the defensive, and I still think that's another way to kind of deal with customers, is to be on the defensive. And if you've got the rules on your side, you're not going to get in trouble. The worst thing that's going to happen is the customer's going to get his way, and that's it. You're not going to get in trouble for what's happening. I had this kid come in. He was 18. He traded in his games. He bought another one. Left. Okay, cool. Comes back with his mom. And his mom is demanding that I undo the trade-in. Now, I still don't, to this day, know how to undo a trade-in, and I'm pretty damn sure you can't. And as he's trading the game, as I say with everybody, this is a final thing. Everybody knows this. This is a final thing when you're trading in your games. You are choosing to trade it in. You're signing the thing. You're not reading anything if you think you can get your games back. That's just a fact. You've decided to trade in your games. You've accepted the amount. This was an 18-year-old adult. Okay, he can make his own decisions. And I'm telling you, this guy was functioning just fine. There was nothing wrong with him. I talked with him. I helped him pick out a game. He seemed like a perfectly normal human being until he cried to his mom, or for some reason his mom was just not happy with how much we traded in the games for. It was ridiculous. And again, I'm like, I can't do this, unfortunately, because that's the rule. I told him that I can't undo this. And she again started, threatening me. And I was just like, you know what? Now I'm definitely not going to help you. I'm not even going to go above and beyond. I'm not going to call my manager. You can get out of my store, okay? I'm not dealing with you right now. I'm not dealing with you swearing at me. I'm a human being, okay? You're treating me like crap right now. Please leave my store. This is unacceptable. Get out of my store. And she did. She was bitching all the way out, but she left. Now, of course, because management will always suck the customer's dick, unfortunately, the woman got her games back and got the game that she bought, or the son bought, for free. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They should have learned their lesson. If you're a shit human being, you get it back. But no, the customer's always right. And it perpetuates the problem with retail. It perpetuates the problem with society. The fact that you can complain about not following these rules that are set in the store that you are shopping at. You agree to these rules when you're shopping at this store. And yet, for some reason, people will constantly be rewarded for complaining about nothing. Sometimes they don't, though, because if there were other customers in the store, I'm sure they would have defended me. I'm sure it would have gotten sorted out differently, because I've had this situation happen as a customer. I believe I've told this story in a podcast about how, or in like a really old Black Friday video, about how a mom was complaining that we were not letting her son look at the games and that we were bullying him. We all called her out. I'm like, no. And I was with Steven at the time, and he was like, no, this is not what's happening right now. No, you're not going to just cut in front of all of us and get your stuff before Black Friday even starts. We're not rewarding this shitty behavior, because we've both been working in retail for so long. We finally had an opportunity as the customer to get back at these motherfuckers. So we told the person that was handling it, we pulled them aside, like, look, this is what's really happening. We had a couple other customers that were also in line. They all confirmed our story. Lady got kicked out of the store. Fuck that bitch. You do not try to play the system. Just don't be a prick, honestly. Be a nice person. The person behind the counter, when you go to a retail store, they're making minimum wage. They have a shitty manager, most likely, and they deal with shitty customers all day. Don't be another one of those shitty customers. I'm just saying. Another way you can handle these terrible customers, as I said, de-escalate. Another way is to kill them with kindness. That really that's like the moral tip-toppy high ground. I did this sometimes, most of the time. No, I think I did it most of the time, because I also have a little undercut of an edge of why I do it. It's not just because I'm a super nice guy to everybody, I'm just going to turn the other cheek. No, I'm not like that at all. You guys know that. I call out companies, I call out people, and I'm tired of injustices and bullshit like that. So if I'm going to kill them with kindness, it's because I want them to feel like an asshole. And it usually works. So I highly recommend you kill people with kindness, because they'll start hearing what they're saying to you as you're still really nice. It'll deflate their anger, and they'll still start realizing how much of an asshole they are. And that's not always the case with people. That's not always gonna work, but it does work a lot. And sometimes people will kind of redeem themselves if you do that as well. So even if you're not doing it just to turn the other cheek and be a pacifist, and you are trying to make them, you need to know that you're an asshole, so I'm going to make you see that by being super nice to you despite how you're treating me. Sometimes people kind of redeem themselves by looking inwardly and not only realizing that they're an asshole, but apologizing to you. I've had that happen many times where the customer's like, I'm really sorry for how I was treating you. I've just had like a bad day, or like X blank, whatever. And I mean, that's a good experience for both the customer and the person working retail, because most likely this person's going to come back and they're not going to be an asshole again. You may have actually influenced them to be a better person going forward. Another way you can deal with a difficult customer, now this is definitely not the moral high ground, this is kind of the gray area. You're not really doing anything wrong per se, and you're still not escalating the situation. What you can do is be nice to the customer, but make their shopping experience as difficult as possible. I've done this quite a few times at GameStop, and I understand if you guys judge me a little bit about that, but I don't care because these people deserved it. Fuck them. If you're going to treat me like shit for literally no reason, we're at a video game store, okay? I don't really know what your issue is. I'm trying to help you. If you're going to be a prick, I'm going to give you the worst case. I'm going to give you the worst looking disc. I'm going to give you one with no manual. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I Frankenstein the worst possible disc. If you're super nice, if you're nice, if you're just a decent human being, I normally looked for the best of the best because I wanted to help people out. I hated buying used games that were all scuffed up, scratched, missing cover art, all that shit. But if you're going to treat me like shit, I'm going to find you one with no cover art. I'm going to find a disc that is functional, but is definitely not pretty. I'm going to find you one that definitely does not have a manual in it, because this was back when 360 PS3 were prevalent, and they still had manuals back then, which unfortunately now is just like 2 plastic clips in there that they shove more advertisements for DLC and season passes. So sad. This is backwards. Pretty much everybody I worked with did the same thing at Walmart. Steven, Eric, and I, we all, if somebody pissed us off, we're going to go check the back. We're going to be a bit, because you're going to sit and wait because you're just yelling at us for no reason. So we're going to go in the back. We're going to mess around, just walk, look at stuff. We'll get your item if it's back there. Probably isn't. And then that's why you're so pissy, is because we've told you we don't have this thing in stock. You don't believe us despite us checking the computer that literally tells us the inventory. Why would we lie to you? I don't understand that logic. If we have the item in stock, what benefit do I get by lying to you and telling you we don't have it? It's not laziness. Why would I not? We were constantly trying to get things to do. We were constantly trying to stay busy in that store. The only time we were ever screwing around is because we were completely bored and had nothing to do. When there were customers, we were happy because we at least had something to do. So we would search high and low if it said we had anything in stock. But for some reason, people would just come in, they ask us if we have an item, we look it up, we tell them no, and then they just start getting a hissy fit. We're like, well, I don't believe you. Why don't you go check the back? Well, sir, we don't have more items in the back. That's just overstock in the back. It's just more of what we have out here, back there, and clearance items. That's it. We don't want you to check the back. Okay. I'll go check the back. 5, 10 minutes later, I'll check the back, but it takes like a solid 3 or 4 minutes to check the back. Maybe even less, because again, like I said, I know the item's not back there. I binned it. I put all the items back there. I know what's back there. Just so frustrating. Of course, there is the other method of just snapping back. I know I said that already, basically. I don't really think that's a moral low road, really, unless you start swearing, which I really never did to a customer. I never cussed out a customer, but I definitely did put a couple in their place because sometimes they deserved it. Sometimes they just irrationally, illogically, and quite randomly just started going off on you. And that's not all right, you know? We don't deserve to get treated like that, especially in the retail world, deal with enough from our managers. As you've heard from these videos, our managers were just awful at Walmart. Just awful. GameStop, they were okay, but Walmart, they were just a miserable people. They're just miserable people to be around because you knew that they themselves were miserable. And that's why they decided to make misery loves company. They decided to make everyone else miserable because they were. But the main takeaway is to really handle customers and to not let it affect you like it's affecting these call center people. It's just, you got to kind of disassociate from these people. You got to realize that they're not really mad at you. Most of the time. Sometimes they are because you're screwing something up, but most of the time that's not the situation. And even if you're screwing something up, you think the customer would have some patience. Again, that's just most cases. I can't speak for all cases. So there you go. That's how you handle terrible customers in the retail environment. I hope this helped out. And if it didn't help out in one way, I hope it helped out in another way. And it is a good motivation to get you out of retail. Because I don't know about you guys, if you're still working retail, if you for some reason enjoyment, that's fine. If you enjoy it, it's great. I did not. I enjoyed my time at GameStop a bit. That's why I was there for so long, is because I loved my coworkers. Most of my managers were cool. We had lots of really cool regulars. So the shitty people were really few and far between. But Walmart was just like a death march. It was awful. It was one of the most miserable jobs. Actually, it's the most miserable job I've ever had. I don't know. The Chinese restaurant was pretty terrible. Anyway, let me know in the comments if that helped, or if you have any tips for anybody else who's working in retail, how to handle customers, something I didn't mention. And as always, have a fantastic day. Subscribe for more content and stuff, you know. Today I'm drinking New Belgium Liquid IPA, or Liquid Paradise IPA. I want to apologize for the lighting. I don't know if you noticed it. I noticed it by just looking at the camera that sometimes it gets dark, sometimes it gets light. I've been trying to figure out what the hell settings in my camera is doing that. I've looked up the problem, and I still haven't found a solution, because I did what they said to do, did nothing. What I've noticed, though, is that the darker the background, the more likely it's going to light me up, instead of darkening me and light up my background. So I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. I know it was a little bit different. Definitely do follow the Twitch, because I will be streaming tonight. Probably playing some either some Frostpunk, or I'm probably going to be playing Sea of Thieves pretty soon, because I'm going to start a video comparing the old Sea of Thieves to the new Sea of Thieves. I know I said I was going to do Battlefront 2 before, but unfortunately, the newest update is like 60 gigabytes or something. I don't know how the hell it's such a big update, but my PS4 does not have the room for it. I don't know what to delete. I don't even know if I have the bandwidth to download that much, because I've got a data cap. It's just a disaster. It's definitely hurting my opinion on the game for sure with these massive updates. That's just unacceptable. Figure out how to optimize your files before sending them out to us. Not all of us have infinite internet. We should, though.